Interesting. This is not my first slide. It looks really good, and I'm really short, so I have to make this microphone work for me. Maybe. Now I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make it work. You are the survivors of a nuclear war, setting sail to rebuild society. If you want to make it to some new land, more than any other discipline represented, you need, there it is, psychology. Psychology is the scientific study of behavior and experience. It's the psychologist's job to scientifically answer questions we all ask of ourselves. Questions like, why did I just do that? And little questions like, who am I? Or, why did I survive while others did not? These are questions that psychologists explore through science. Having a representative, me, with a PhD in cognitive and clinical neuropsychology, I have answers for you. Psychologists study human behaviors after disasters, helping those people on the Raft, would you have family to help support you? Or would you not have your parents, as these young women agonized over the death of their father in Sichuan province? Psychologists understand how to cope with the tragic loss of loved ones, something you are all doing right now. Sounds like something you might need, right? Yes, psychology is your first aid kit. From scientific studies, psychology can help you cope with grief, control what you can, let go of what you can't, engage in healthy behaviors, figure out how you can help other survivors and yourself, and remain hopeful. And let's just think about what this experience has done to your brain. You made it to the raft, but perhaps you had a head injury along the way. Did you almost drown getting to this raft, causing nausea, which is oxygen deprivation to your brain? Isn't it good that you can have a neuropsychologist like me to help understand how your brain might have changed and how to recover best? What were the effects of that radiation on your brain, your cognition, your emotions? Yes, even trauma affects brain functioning, and you have all lived through trauma, not knowing if you would live or die. This is the IV-marked fireball, the result of a nuclear weapon that detonated in 1952 over the sea, perhaps the sea where we are right now. Experiencing a trauma puts people at great risk for developing a psychological disorder. According to the CDC, after September 11th, 1 in 5 first responders, volunteers, and people who helped with the cleanup showed evidence that they might have post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. You are survivors of a nuclear holocaust. This is so much more. And treatment works for people with PTSD. For example, in a randomized clinical trial, Edna Foa and her colleagues found that people with PTSD responded to therapy, represented here in red. You can see how pre-test to post-test symptoms went down, but the control group covered, with symptoms hovering around 30. So therapy works, but it takes time. I can't do it in one day. It takes about 8 weeks. So unless you want to wait here for 8 weeks, I think you should let me on the Raft. Wouldn't you like a psychologist to help you be your best? And speaking of your best, I would argue that right now, even before you set sail, you're already building society. Lucky for you, social psychologists study how people behave in groups. So think of it this way. You've just picked your debate winner, and which way will you go when you don't know what lies ahead? Will you go north? Will you go south, east, west? How will you decide? There are 300 voices in here, and only one possible way that Raft can go. Psychologists Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman researched this type of judgment under uncertainty. Kahneman won the Nobel Prize in 2002. Tversky had recently passed away, for showing just how irrational people are when they need to make decisions. Wouldn't you want somebody to keep you from making those irrational decisions at a time like now? Okay, so hopefully we've made it, navigated the ocean, and made it to some island. So now we've got to think about the next generation. And fortunately, psychologists study the science of relationship development, sexual behavior, and relationship success. So look around the room again. There are 300 faces here, and these are the people that you get to mate with. Yeah. So, aren't you at least interested in figuring out which of these people might be compatible with you? Which one is going to stay with you rather than go astray? We've got some issues with love, and then we'll build some huts, and then boom, there are babies. That is, as soon as you build those huts, you're going to have babies to teach, you're going to have people that need education, and psychologists are experts in how people learn and remember. And we can help you remember without paper, without pencil. But speaking of memory, as a cognitive psychologist, I know that I am stuck in the middle right here. I know people remember what's at the beginning, and people remember what's at the end of this talk. And they put me right in the middle. That's where luck had me. So I am asking you to defy cognitive psychology and take me and move me to the top of your memories so that you can remember that you need me along on the life raft. In sum, I am here to help you right now before you set sail all the way through your lives, giving psychology away, helping you cope, and thank you for choosing psychology.
Our next contestant is going to be from English. Please welcome Dave.